Hi, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is VlogsBoutNothin. Thank you very much for being interrupted now, because you have notifications on, and you're a sub, and now I'm bothering you and getting you through the last hour of work. So, a really grateful to you, and I really appreciate you watching my channel. Sometimes I don't speak correctly, but it happens. I talk a lot, which is also why I'm doing my best to absolutely master the art of procrastination. I have to be somewhere at 5 o'clock, but I still got this to do. And I've been sleeping all day. So there's that. But I'm feeling nice, refreshed. Woke up. I had a breakfast burrito earlier. That was nice. And so I'm almost ready to head on out the door. But when I do that, I obviously won't be able to be here with y'all. So again, I really do appreciate you guys vibing on me. It's or vibing with me. I don't really want anybody to vibe on me, like I don't know, but anyways, it's been an interesting few days, and I feel like if I can make it through tonight, I might just be able to make it on through this whole thing. So, yeah, it's been like that. But tonight, let's talk about something that highlighted in the link in the description below. Tozy talks about way better than a lot of other social commentators, I'd say, here on YouTube for sure. If you already know about the dude, that's great. He's got like almost 2 million subs, so a lot of people do know about him. But regardless, check out his channel. The guy's got a lot of cool investigative journalistic kind of qualities about him, and he's got real good humor, and the way he presents the stuff is just, whether you're against or for what he's saying, it's presented in a fair way. So I kind of like that. But regardless, Tozy talks about something that I don't really want to talk about, but something that is a piggyback of that. So we've hashed it out before here on the channel. We've talked about the allegations that have befallen Jimmy Donaldson, and how that concerns the rest of us content creators. And I even have several documented videos right here on the channel. Just look on down below. There's more than 650 now, so definitely, you know, do your thing. And but regardless, there's some videos in there that defend Mr. Beast, and obviously it's been public and clear that I'm with the Beast team so far as not everything can be the guy's fault, but I hope that he does what's right and fixes all of the stuff, and then inevitably addresses the allegations, right? But ironic enough, the company that gave him the 100 mil to produce that show is more or less kind of what I want to talk about, in that I'm not sure why everyone is dissecting the treatment of Beast contestants so much as Amazon doesn't get class action sued for unfair working conditions. So, and then I think to myself that Amazon is the one that's putting on the production. So, hand in hand kind of a thing. I just wonder why we choose as a society, as a collective, to go after the one guy who might arguably have more of our interests at heart than do the major corporations, including the one that he now technically works for in that sense. I mean, he's been pretty clear with how sponsorships for him work, and how, his videos alone get hundreds of millions of views. So it's not like there's really any added help in that. But when you give over creative control, something I've also heard him talk about on a number of occasions, you also give up creative control to the person or entity that is ultimately responsible. And so again, it's just interesting how we're dissecting absolutely everything in terms of the treatment of the contestants. And I think that's moreover kind of the important overlying thing to understand here, is that all of these people were in fact contestants, and they were informed of their consent. They gave informative consent. It was a whole process. They signed paperwork. And it's one thing to sign paperwork and then to be treated absolutely bad. And obviously, it sounds like there have been a lot of allegations to put that point forward. A lot of people have complained. At least we now know of a handful of people that have filed the class action lawsuit that's been made public against Mr. Beast and Amazon. Amazon has failed to respond. And the question again, just to me, is if we're going to go through all this trouble to try and make a young man accountable for his actions and how he treats contestants, then why can't we as a society class action sue DoorDash, Postmates, Uber Eats, and all of the other places that refuse to recognize employment and instead classify Uber drivers as independent contractors when they're on the clock, sometimes 14 hours a day, making sure all of us that don't have cars are able to be somewhere safely. I think it just goes to show our priorities. And I just feel like our priorities, now that a fire has been lit with underneath us, and that fire is the accountability of what we expect major corporations to provide when they are hosting, essentially. And it could be hosting employment, it could be hosting a contestant, it could be hosting a true contractor, it could be hosting an employee. But the thing is, we need to hold people accountable, and not just Jimmy, not just Mr. Beast. This is the first time he's ever put on something of this magnitude, much less, and moreover, it's the first time in network history across any platform where such a large amount of money has been a prize or the reward for the winning contestant. It's the first time. I mean, we should all. People learn from their mistakes. It's really tough to get things right the first time. Jimmy couldn't have possibly been a monster and been there and just refused to provide the kind of assistance. In fact, reports have come out to say the latter, that he's actually was really upset when these things happened, and that he did his best to make sure that people were fed and people were given the kind of treatment that we all know that we deserve from people with such resources. But it's not just Mr. Beast, and Mr. Beast doesn't have as many resources as Amazon, doesn't have as many resources as the major food delivery networks. And so I think we should hold those guys accountable too. I think if we're going to have an open conversation about a handful of people suing to one major, the biggest content creator in the world, on the world's biggest platform, and another one of the world's biggest companies in the world that owns the rights and gave this young man $100 million to put on the show, and then who's responsible? Atosi brings up a good point. Who's running this thing? Who's in charge? Is Mr. Beast in charge, or does he just work for Amazon? And again, that's a huge distinction, because if he just works for Amazon, then wouldn't it ultimately be Amazon's fault that people are getting sick and not being taken care of properly? And I mean, right? Or wouldn't it at the very least just be as much as their fault, if not at least a little bit more than Jimmy's? And so again, I just want to ask these questions out loud, because I feel like sometimes I'm the only one thinking these things, but I know that I'm not, because I can't quite possibly be, right? There is a point to life, right? I'm just really looking into that fault under our stars kind of a mood. I've never seen the movie, I've never read the book. That may have been a bad joke, but hey, it just seemed like an appropriate dark humor joke to signify that I'm sad and curious all at the same time, you know? I do know I've seen a movie called A Walk to Remember, starring my childhood crush and heartthrob Mandy Moore. What a sad movie. She doesn't make it out alive. And it's a very sad movie. And there's some very sad songs in that movie, and boy, Mandy Moore, I still have a crush on you. Is there a god? Is somebody out there listening? Mandy Moore, is she married now? Probably happily married with children and successful production career. She's probably like behind the scenes on some of like the really cool projects I don't even know about. But anyways, I think we should just give Mr. Beast a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt as it concerns the logistics with that specific game show. Because again, just like Atosi brought up in a part of his video, who's ultimately responsible? Is it Mr. Beast? Is Mr. Beast and his crew responsible? Did Amazon just give him a big bag of money and say, there you go, dude? Or did they sign some sort of contract and Amazon is the one producing this, editing this, and then ultimately Avi, we know, going to be distributing it? It's really confusing. I bet he's confused right now. I would be, because that's a confusing thing. And obviously, he's not talking about it because of some paper that he signed, which probably means that he more or less just works for Amazon, which makes it Amazon's fault, not Mr. Beast's. So I hope that you guys have a really good day. Thanks for watching my channel. Bye.